Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's VinPF, and if this is your first time on the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you like the content today. You can wait till the end of the video before you do that, but I would love it if you would hit that button and the like button. It really does help. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. Now, I've covered a lot of Scotch Malt Whisky Society bottlings before, but today I've been sent a kind of sample box of their Outturn for December in 2019. So I'm going to go through 5 of those drams today. Now I'll run through what I've got on the table today first, while we're letting this kind of air out a little bit, but all the information that I talk about today will be in the description below, so you can go and check those out if you're a member. Of course, if you're not a member, you need to be a member to be able to buy these drams, and if you're not a member, then why not become a member? It's a good thing to do, and I think it's worldwide as well, so you can get it wherever you are, and also check out if you've got a bar in your local area. So for me, I've got a bar in my area, so that I can go and check out new releases. They're partner bars all over the world, so do go and check them out. Right, let's have a quick look through the numbers and we'll see what we've got on the table, and then we'll crack into it, shall we? So first of all, we've got the 6.39. Now, I should say as well, if you're not sure about SMWS stuff, these numbers, I'm sure you all know that by now, but these numbers relate to the distillery and the cask number that they've used. So in this case, it's the 6th distillery that they bottled from, and the 34th time that they've bottled from that distillery, cask from that distillery, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a particular secret. You won't find the information on the SMWS website, but if you go on the internet and you really want to know where these are from before you buy them, you can find that information out. But there's a whole host of other information that they give you as well. For instance, this is light and delicate. I'll throw up the kind of profile system that they have here, and whenever I talk about that profile system, I'll throw that back up again as well. I'll also, as a graphic, put up what I'm drinking right now down here somewhere. Maybe just down here where I've got a little bit of space, and you'll be able to see what number I'm drinking at any time. I'll go through the information about each one when I get to them. But I've kind of gone in an order. There's definitely differences in ABVs going on here. I think it's a bit of a peak like this, but it goes from light until peated. I think that's pretty much fair enough, right? So next up, we've got a 77.60, and that is a sweet and spicy, or spicy and sweet. Spicy and sweet. Next one is the 44.16, and that is a deep, rich, and dried fruit flavour profile. That should just have been left up there. This one here is a special one, really. It's one of their blends, and this is the Big Swirl, and that is a deep, rich, and dried fruit as well. And finally, because it's peated, we've got a 29.266. You can see this one's been tapped into 266 times, this distillery. So that might give you a bit of a hint about what it might be. So there you go, that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be going through each one in turn. I'm not going to be doing kind of noses of all and then coming back to palates. This is not a blind tasting. I'll be cleansing in between each one, but I'll probably throw up a little graphic every time it changes just to keep things fresh and interesting. Well, what do you say we get into the first one and see what we've got in the glass? Okay, so first up, we've got the 6.34 in a Scotch Test Dummies Glencairn of things. Now, the other thing to say is that what you're seeing is what you're getting. It's natural colour, it's cask strength, it's non-chill filtered, all of that cool stuff that we love the SMWS for. When we get down to the blends, I'm not sure how they go about doing stuff like that with their blends, but I imagine it's still the same good quality as you expect from their other bottlings. Stuff you need to know about this one. It's a 12-year-old whiskey. It's a Speyside. It's 58.6%, and it's the cask type is a refill ex-bourbon hogshead. So good information. It's one of sort of 320 odd bottles. Goes for around about £55, so it's a pretty reasonably priced dram. Let's get into the nose and see what we've got on that, shall we? Oh, okay. It's kind of oddly immediately waxy. It's got this kind of like thick, waxy quality to it. Some honey, some vanilla, the kind of appley stuff I'd expect from Speyside, to be honest. Interesting. I'm getting a kind of back-end citrusy notes as well. Again, if you've looked up what distillery that we're drinking from here, I haven't covered it on the channel before, so I can't say for sure, but you know, you might know this quality. Let's try on the palate. Boy. I mean, it may well be that we're going in straight onto the high ABVs, but 58.6%, not to be sniffed at. That is huge. There's a kind of... Ooh, what is that? Definitely high on the vanillas. It's got some kind of tropical notes to it as well. Not a really high amount, but definitely in there. But there's a kind of floralness that's going on to it. Kind of grassiness, herbal notes that are going on. Really, really tasty. It's leaving a touch of menthol on my palate afterwards. Wow, that's tasty, that is. What an opening gambit that is. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Okay, next up we've got the 77.60. This one's in a British Bourbon Society glass. I didn't pick glasses intentionally, it is what it is, so obviously not a bourbon inside this, although SMWS do cover some bourbons, so worth checking out if you're not just a Scotch fan. But let's get into this one and see what we've got, shall we? Now, it's a 10-year-old whiskey this time, bit higher on the ABV at 59.6%. It's a Highland distillery this time, as I said, 77, so if you're looking at the codes, you can go and check that one out. Again, not one that I've covered on the channel as an actual review, so interesting for me. It's also a refill ex-bourbon hogshead again, so it's similar to the last one. A little bit of a smaller outturn, this one, with one of 260 odd bottles. Let's get into the nose and see what we've got. Oh, this is very different. For me, it's a little bit more kind of biscuity, more caramel rather than honeys. Still a touch of kind of citrusy notes to it, but very overwhelmingly on the kind of biscuity nature of it. Really like that. Okay. To be fair, do you know what? I forgot to talk about the names of these things as well. So the last one is called Boundless Temperance, or Boundless Intemperance, sorry. This one's called A Featherbed in a Gentleman's Study. Now, the names are a bit strange. They aren't to be taken too seriously. They pluck straight from the people that actually pick these casks. They do a big tasting session, and I guess they just have a bit of fun with it. So I wouldn't take them too seriously. They're not trying to say this. Well, maybe they are trying to say it smells like a featherbed in a gentleman's study, but I don't know what that smells like. So moving on. Right. So palate indeed then. Well, first impressions, not overly favourable for me. It's extremely nut heavy. Now, I usually get nuts in some kind of whiskies, but you just say nuts. But this has got that kind of, I don't know what it is about it, that kind of earthy nature that comes from some nuts, a bit like, you know, almonds and stuff like that. Got a kind of a buttery quality to it. A little bit like that caramel that I was talking about earlier on the nose as well, that's coming through. No, I have to say I'm not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of that at all. It's leaving a kind of nutty aftertaste in my mouth that I'm not that keen on. Not sure I'll be putting that one in my infinity bottle when this is finished, but yeah, it smells fine. But yeah, I have to say, not a huge fan of that one, which is something I don't usually say about SMWS bottlings, but got to be honest about it. When you get it, you get it. Let's check out the next one. Okay, time for the third one. This is in an unbranded glass, and this is the 44.116, and they've called this Pirate Ship in a Storm, which, sure, fine, whatever. Not terribly sure what that would smell like or taste like, but this is another Speyside one. This time, it's a second fill ex-oloroso butt, so a different size cask indeed. 8 years old. You can see what you're getting from that, even on a second fill. That's absolutely incredible. A bit of a monster, this one's going to be 68.2%, so better be careful on it. And this one's meant to be selling for about sort of £48, so interesting. Bit of a higher outturn with this one, over 500 bottles, so might well still be available. Not sure, you'll have to go and check on the website if you're a member. Let's get into the nose and see what we've got. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is, I mean, totally different to the last one. So as I said earlier, this is the deep, rich and dried fruits. So we're moving down the list, probably somewhere towards the top still, but Jesus, you can really smell that oloroso on it at all. It's not, doesn't smell overly sulfured to me at all, which is good. Yeah, I usually do get that. Maybe it's because I've seen this pirate ship thing, but definitely kind of some kind of briny element to it, but not overly so, but I'm probably being led. It's got a weird kind of stale nose to it almost. Not in a bad way. I know that sounds really stupid because stale's always bad, but it's definitely there. Right, let's get on the palate. Oh. Okay. So, yeah, definitely sulphur on the palate on that one. I mean, it's trying to pick something else out of it now, but it's definitely a sherry note to it. Yeah, it's brown sugars, dried fruits, cherry fruits, but oh, there's a big sulphur note to that. That's a big no-no for me. No, can't say I've enjoyed that one, have to say. Again, got to be honest about it, but it's just not my profile. That's the beautiful thing about SMWS. They do something for everyone. I'm really looking forward to this peated one here. Not too sure about the blend. We'll try that one in a minute. But as long as you know what you like in terms of flavour profiles, again, you can look up the distilleries to find out what they are. Bit of a surprise for me because I really like this distillery and have covered them several times before on the channel. So you can go and look them up if you're really interested. And I've always loved their stuff, albeit mostly independently bottled. Just not the heavily sherry stuff, apparently. Just me. Right, I'm going to have a quick rinse out for the fourth one, but let's check out the big swirl next. Okay, let's check out the big swirl. Now this is batch 6 in their blended malt whiskey range, called the Big Swirl. We don't know why. Could be a number of different reasons. I've tried one of their previous blends before. I didn't like it. I think it was called the Tropical Cargo or something like that. Something similar, Cargo. Wasn't a fan of that. Extra sulphured. This one, offered at 50%. Minimum 10-year-old. They've aged it in several different ways. We've got full-term maturation in sherry casks, in Spanish oak sherry casks, European oak sherry casks, along with some ex-bourbon casks that are then married together for a final 2 years in American oak sherry casks. There you go. So again, minimum of 10 years in there. Big old bottling of this is something like nearly 2,000 bottles, maybe 1,800 bottles, something like that. Bit of a monster again, 50%. Don't know much about it other than that. Let's get into the nose and see what we've got. Okay, so last time I tried one of their blends, it was heavily sulphured for me. Couldn't recommend it. Not getting that off this at all. Definitely sherried, but it's good sherry for me. It's almost a little bit fruity as well. A little bit, bit tropical almost as well. Kind of tropical fruits in there as well. Let's get onto the palate and see what else we can get. Wow. Okay. Oh, yeah, that is good. I'm gonna have another sip before I talk about it. You know what? It's got everything that I would expect from a good sherried whiskey. Lots of those dried fruits that you can expect. This comes under the deep, rich, and dried fruit section. Everything you would expect from that. This comes with a bit of extra stuff as well. It's kind of like a bit mentholy almost. Very tannic. So we're talking like wood and kind of leathery notes to it as well. But yeah, like I say, it's extra fruity and it's almost like a like a treacle nature to it. Really enjoy that. Actually, that's really nice. Pleasant, especially after the sulphury notes of that last one, which not terribly keen on that. Let's get into the last one. It's a peated one. You know I'm looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Let's check it out. Okay, we're on to the last one. That's 29.266. And they've called this one Converting Vegetarians, which is a bit of a controversial title for sure. But it's, again, a bit of a monster. 60.9% ABV. It's only 8 years old, but you know, that's not necessarily a problem. You can see it's quite light in character. It's second fill ex-bourbon barrel. So, you know, again, more contribution factors to why we've got a bit of a pale note on it. But if you're checking out the numbers, this is an Islay distillery. I think, to be fair, I think it's pretty obvious what it is anyway. But if you're checking out the numbers, this could be a pretty cheap way of getting a extremely cask strength from this distillery. But let's check it out on the nose and see what we've got, shall we? Now, on the nose, it's very ashy, a little bit briny, very medicinal. Might be all you need to know. They've called it Converting Vegetarians because it's very barbecue led. Lots of barbecue kind of smokiness to it. It's almost like it isn't like a roaring barbecue. I like to refer my peaty notes to like the stages of a bonfire, you know, like a burning bonfire or a dead bonfire. This distillery usually comes out for me as a kind of a dead bonfire smell. Like, so it's cold, but it's still kicking up that kind of ashy smell. It's not quite there yet, so it's definitely when all of the coals are white, you've finished cooking, there's no more flames, there's no more real heat, you know, it's still alive just about, but it's not, you couldn't cook anything on it anymore, and you're getting that kind of like barbecue, smoky, ashy flavour from it. It's pretty good, I'm not going to lie. Let's try on the palate. Bit of a monster. Now, you know what? Oh, there it is. Just as I started talking, I was going to say, it takes a little while for the peat to even hit your palate. It's initially very sweet. The high ABV is definitely there. It's tingly. Really nice sensation. But just as I swallowed, opened my mouth to breathe, this kind of ashy, wooden note came out of nowhere that it's just exactly what I love these days. Now, this comes under the peated, you know, so we're talking peated, heavily peated. If you don't like peat, this is not your bag. This is not a bridging whiskey for peat at all. But if you know your distilleries and you've picked out the tasting notes that I've said from this, I think you can't do much better than this right now. Oh, it's just got everything that has. Obviously, it hasn't got like a sherry note to it at all. This distillery has done some kind of sherry peated whiskies before that have been fabulous, but for me, oh, it's just absolutely superb. Briny, medicinal, a little bit sweet as well. That's definitely been my favourite of the lot. Hard to say how I would order them. I think I might actually put them Big Swirl second. This one, Big Swirl. And then working left to right. So the first one, then second, and this one, unfortunately, last. But again, that's just my opinion. And you should always, always, always seek further opinions. Don't just sort of pick a favourite YouTuber, for instance, and just follow them blindly. You should definitely pick a couple of people's opinions, see what everyone thinks, because even if I don't like something, doesn't mean you won't like it. And even if you like something, doesn't mean I'll like it. That's just the way whiskey is. Absolutely amazing thing about whiskey. This has been a really good experience for me. Very rarely do I try SMWS stuff side by side like this, let alone an Outturn. So if you've been with me the whole video and you're interested in this sort of content, let me know, and I'll try and do more of these. I'm going to be doing more kind of sample videos on weekends. I'm going to probably call them like something really corny like Sample Saturday or Sample Sunday, depending on when I get them out. But I do get sets like this through the post fairly regularly. So if you're interested in more content like this, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just sort of keep that stuff to myself and just enjoy it behind the scenes and maybe do the occasional single sample review. But if you want these side-by-sides, especially outturns, if in future you do like this sort of content, I'll do my best to get these videos out in the month that they actually outturn so that you don't miss stuff, because probably a lot of this is already sold out, unfortunately. Do let me know if that's the case. But don't forget to hit the like button if you like this content. Hit the dislike button if you haven't liked this content. It really does tell me the difference between making these videos again or not. And don't forget to check out the description below for more information about all of this stuff in here and links on how to get hold of them, etc. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on another No Nonsense Whisky video.